Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and good evening to Animal Advocates Radio, Voices Carry for Animals, number 364 shows and counting this evening. This is just so wonderful to have this radio platform for all the animals in need and distress, and having a big shout-out to all these former guests out there that have come and joined in and standing up, for all the animals and doing their thing and making a difference. Shining stars, all of you. I mean, just putting it out there, because the animals, they don't have a choice. They are helpless, defenseless, innocent, and defenseless. And we have to be their voices, everyone, because all lives matter, including all the animals. So we have to do our part. Or I always say, put a little love in your heart and do your part and make better lives and futures for all of them. They so well deserve, because without us, they don't stand a chance. So, to take that effort, and like I do, I multitask not only on this radio platform, but also on social media, with the Facebook groups and pages, and also on Twitter and LinkedIn and Pinterest. So I try to do my best from every angle to help them out. Sign petitions, call legislators. I mean, it's all so important. And it's not going to get any easier than help make changes in the comfort of your home, your phone, your computer, your copier. If you have a fax, you can scan stuff, you can write letters, and it's so easy to do right from your home, and it's meaningful time. So please do that effort if you're not already, and because your voice, all of our voices matter out there. All of our actions matter. So never think they don't, because when you help make changes and there's victories come through, you want to do the victory dance. But my name is Debbie Dahmer, and I am the producer and host for Animal Advocates Radio, Voices Carry for Animals, on Blog Talk Radio, coming to you live every Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, and 4 o'clock Pacific. Listening worldwide, everyone. And you could call in. I'll give the number, and it's the same number every week if you want to be in the queue and you want to listen from there. And you can also listen in from Skype, okay? But the callers, if you want to listen in, 310 area code 982-4270. and press 1 in the queue, and that'll alert me that you want to speak to the guest. And try to refrain from any noises in the background, conversations, TVs, radios, and you're more than welcome to come on board, because the more voices out there, everyone, the better for the animals and the action takers, because we are all better together than apart. So just remember that teamwork is the key, and that's what it takes. We need teamwork to see those victories coming through and better lives and futures for our animal friends in need and distress. I wanted to give a big shout out to Gary Bowden. He is the radio producer of Animal Advocate Alliance. It's called All About Animals Radio, and I'm a big team member on their website, so please check it out. And also I'm posting on there as Mama Bear, my nickname. I love that, and I'll give a big shout out to him because he's out there working hard for the animals. And I told him, host to host, coast to coast, we all stand together and speak out on air for all the animals in need. So working together, and that's what it takes, everyone. Strong teamwork, it leads to strong victories. Strong leaders also lead to strong, victories. So please, everyone, do your part, because your voice matters, and that's what it takes out there. But anyway, Gary Bowden, thank you so much. He's in the UK, and we're great team players together. And, I can't thank him enough, because these shows are on demand on the website. If you go to Animal Advocate Alliance, go up at the top, AAA Radio, and then on there, listen to Voices Cared for Animals. They're all archived, so you can listen and share 24/7, 365 days a year. And if you want to follow my podcast, like this show is coming live from the PPJ Gazette online, www.ppjg.me, and then on the right-hand column, you'll see follow, and every time there is a new podcast or an article, it will alert you in your primary email. Big shout-out to Marty Oakley also. That's her website, promoting it every Thursday. My shows did start on her TS Radio Network back in June of 2014. And then March of 2018, I got my own show, Animal Advocates Radio, from show number 164 to the current one, 364, and counting. So you can also follow Voices Cared for Animals on Blog Talk Radio under the logo Animal Advocates Radio, and every time there is a new upcoming broadcast, it will alert you in your primary. So either the PPJ Gazette on the right-hand side, press follow, or you can search Voices Cared for Animals, and all the links will come up anytime, 24/7, and just press the link, play it, and it will go on. But anyway, we're going to go on with the show. Another great one tonight, everyone. I mean, it's just amazing, all these shows, and so much, informative, and just bringing all of us together, animal advocates out there working hard to do what's right out there, because just like the children, the animals, the elderly, they do not have a voice, okay? So we have to be there for them, or the problems worsen, and that's right with the animals also. But I want to introduce him. He is the founder of Boston Dog Lawyers and also a pet owner, and he's attorney Jeremy Cohen. And I want to welcome him aboard tonight. I've been looking forward to this show also. I always look forward to these shows because I know they're all going to be good, and with a lot of info and encouragement, inspiring us to do something. But anyway, I want to welcome attorney Jeremy Cohen. Welcome to Animal Advocates Radio, Voices Cared for Animals. How are you this evening? So glad to have you.
Oh, I am so happy to be here. I am so happy to be here. You have an important show, and it's always been important to me to be on this show. So I'm really happy to be here, and I just want to be a resource to as many folks as I can this evening.
Oh, this is great. Yes, it's wonderful. So inspired and uplifting. You're a shining star out there, Jeremy. Keep it up. And a big shout out to Watchdog Mary, has been a guest on this show several times. Mary Swagger, she's the one that connected me with you, and I can't thank her enough. And I even sent her another message thanking her, and I said, feel free to call in anytime. And looking forward to having her on again. You know, yeah.
She's a great ally. She's a great person, great ally to pet owners. She's an important person too, with the ability to place news stories.
Yes, and she keeps it up, you know, just like you. We can't do without you, you know, it's just, you're needed. We'll call it essential, okay? That's what we'll call it, because, well, you know, you've given these pet owners, the moms and the dads of their furry kids hope to carry on and making it better for them. But we'll get you started here. How did you get started with the Boston Dog Warriors? Because you're the founder. And we got to bring your furry daughter up, right? I see awesome photos of you and her. Real men, women, and children love animals, and they're so awesome. And your website and everything. But go right ahead. Welcome aboard.
You're referencing my baby girl who's 9 years old now, Maisie, and Maisie is. I thought she was well trained, but I realize now that she's 9, I let her get away with so many things because she's got those big brown eyes. And anytime I try to corral her on a walk, she always wins me over with those eyes. But interestingly for me, I didn't grow up with a dog in my household, and it wasn't until after being a lawyer for quite some time, about 15 years, that I had an opportunity to enter the dog world. And it was pretty cool because it was an important point in my life as well, my personal life, because the dog who needed an attorney was pretty close to home. The dog belonged to my stepkids and their dad. And one day we got a call that Jesse, the German Shepherd, he got loose. He went after a small dog, and he ended up biting the owner on her ankle. And anytime a dog bites, not anytime, but there can be a dangerous dog hearing. And that goes on throughout the country at the local level, cities and towns. And I went to the hearing thinking, all right, I know Jesse, let's see what's going to happen. And there was about 35 or 40 people there, all begging the Board of Selectmen and really commanding them to put Jesse down, to euthanize Jesse. I was blown away because there was no research, no investigation. Nobody had evaluated Jesse. The animal control officer had never met Jesse, and they didn't consider all the things that need to be considered. This is not 1970 or 1980 or 1990. We are super smart as a society, and there's great tools available to teach dog owners to be better managers. And to just go that dog bites, so kill it, that's an ancient way of thinking, and I'm trying to change that theory one town at a time. We have 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. I've been to about 160 of them, and I can't wait to get to the rest. But ultimately, we filed an appeal, and we won. And people were calling Jesse a terrorist. They said he had the intent. He would lay in wait to try to pounce on people, and somehow he was this murderous monster, and it just wasn't true, and there was no science. And that brought about the right amount of outrage for me. It also brought this sort of atypical family together. Suddenly, in this little family, I became pretty important because I'm going to save your dog's life. And there was a point when I first came to the family, Jesse and me not having a dog, he was my first real friend in the family because Jesse didn't care who I was or what the relationship was. I took him for a walk, and he loved me back for it. So for me, it was pretty cool beginning, and each year, because it made the local news, I'd handle a couple of dangerous dog cases because it would spread through the internet that I was available. And finally, in 2016, I launched Boston Dog Lawyers. And for the first 6 months, the phone never rang. I had really not liked being a lawyer before that. I was kind of bored with it. And for 6 months it didn't ring, but then Facebook took over, and boy, we get 4 calls a day, 7 days a week for people, new calls, people saying, I need help with my pet. And as you notice, I can talk and talk and talk about this, but I'm fortunate because I get super emotional and I take these cases very personal. Oftentimes judges and other lawyers, they tell me I shouldn't be taking things so personal, but that's why we're so good at it. Because you come to me with a problem with your dog and that dog becomes mine. And some of the things we deal with for pet owners are not just dangerous dog hearings. We defend civil suits if somebody is suing a dog owner for a dog bite, but we also address emotional support animals and service dogs and your right to have one. And the pet custody cases are a huge part of our volume, whether it's cats, horses, dogs, people who are splitting up and who gets the dog or the cat, and really how that's determined. And then we have the department and a division called wrongful pet injury or wrongful pet death. And that's addressing the people in the pet industry who we trust to care for our pets, and they make mistakes. They don't do it intentionally for the most part, but whether it's groomers or trainers, boarding facilities, veterinarians, we hold them accountable, and we really seek to have pets looked at as more than just property in the courts. We're not seeking any type of personhood, but we are advocating for these pets by advocating for pet owners' rights. And we do a lot with really addressing the bond between a pet and their owner. And then I'll stop talking, but I think the most important thing is where we're at now is conveying to judges how important that bond is, that you can't tell somebody, oh, just get another dog, get another cat. You know, Maisie and I, we have our own language. It's taken 9 years, but we started our own language together, and nobody else understands that language, and that's what every pet owner has with their pet. You know certain looks, certain movements, certain sounds. We do it without words, right? But how can you just say, go get another dog? It takes so much work, time, and love and energy and trust to build up that language. So we're really trying to emphasize how important a pet is versus, a kitchen table or a lamp.
Right. I mean, they mean so much to us. I mean, when they walk through the door and you adopt them or bring them in, they're automatically your furry loved ones. And you communicate with them. They love to be, spend time with them and pet them and feed them and, take them outside. And it's not that hard to do, Jeremy, at all. And they love that attention. They love, playing with toys and you spending time with them and talking to them. That's so important because, like you said, you communicate with them. And, they got them certain looks, and they know when you're down and out, or they know when you're happy. You don't want to say they just know. They're just so intelligent up there to know that stuff. And they know, if they're at a good home, they know they love their home. And that's what they're all supposed to do, love their homes, get the TLC they totally need, because they're important in our lives. They're all lives matter out there, including all the animals, and they want to be treated fairly. And when they get in a TLC home, they know it, and they could come from a bad background. And I've had that happen with one of the buddy. He passed away, but years ago. But I could tell he was abused. Before he was adopted, and it took a while to get him in because when you go to pet him, all his ears would go all the way back, scared to death, like you was going to hit him or something. So that time, once that disappeared after a couple months, and he was comfortable, built up trust and everything, he was fine. So there was a happy ending to that, and some of them don't get that. So that's what we got to work on. I mean, we have to let them feel comfortable and feel free of fear and anxiety and, abuse and neglect, because that's terrible. They can't defend themselves. They don't stand a chance. They can't call the police. They can't do police records. They can't call on this radio platform. So we have to be there for them to make sure that they are comfortable and loved and cared for. And I can see how when in the position you're in, you take it, personal, like it's your pet. And that's wonderful because you're putting yourself in that, family's shoes and saying, hey, I got to do something for this dog. Now it's in my hands, and I'm going to treat it just like my own and get close with them. And you got to give them that chance because that's what they deserve. And I know so many families out there are very happy with all the work you're doing. I mean, it's so impressive. Yes, go ahead.
Well, thank you. No, just going to say on the happy days, the reuniting people with their pets, or the day when we get somebody to admit, or we hold somebody accountable for what they did to our dogs, or a judge recognizes a new argument that we make. Those are great days. And as a lawyer, I love bringing the fight to the court, because typically when something goes wrong with your pet, whether it gets sick or hurt, or you take to social media, but that's not really going to help your dog. It's going to help overall to form an army, and it's important that we exchange information that way. But it's time that the courts take these cases serious, and we're bringing them to the right forum. And so when we're in court, and if I see a judge who's looking bored or shaking their head that they're so unhappy that they have to hear a case about a pet, I remind them, we paid our filing fee. We have every right to be there. And this is important stuff. This is about pet owners' rights. And, when we domesticated dogs, it's debatable how many thousands of years ago, we created a duty, an obligation to these pets. And that obligation exists for every single pet owner to make sure that your pet is safe. And when something goes wrong, it's super important to seek accountability, because we have to make it better for the next person, and we have to change behavior. And when you call people out for their bad behavior, and you certainly make sure others know about the story in the dog world, we see change. And that's why every night on the news there's a story about a dog, mostly happy ones, but anytime there's a dog story to be had, it's on the news. We're all interested in it, and it's through shows like yours that we can find out what rights pet owners really have, and what things to avoid, what things to do. But the bottom line is, and I know this for myself, I certainly can be a better pet owner, a better manager of my pet tomorrow than I am today. So you have to constantly be learning, constantly be questioning things, and really, I spoke to somebody today who said, well, I trained my dog 3 years ago. No, training has to be ongoing. You don't just train them once. Training is a daily thing that people need to work through for themselves and for their pet, because you're a team, and you both have to know how to manage situations together.
Oh, yeah. It takes teamwork. It's, like you said, you got to, you don't just stop there. You keep going, because I know having Sugar Bear, was adopted over 3 years ago. She's an Alaskan Malamute, and I know when she, at first, how they try to get settled in the home, and you got to give them a chance and everything. And she got comfortable real quick. How you just click with the animals. They know they got good vibrations if you're an animal lover or not. And so when you work with them, you constantly keep learning new things. And once you give them that care and they feel comfortable and they trust you and everything, you got it made. And you're BFS, best furry friends, and that's a positive note. So
one of my favorite calls, just going to add there, one of my favorite calls that I've received over the years is a woman who was kicked out of a restaurant because she had her chow with her, and she would go to dinner with her chow on every first date that she had, because she believed, because Sigmund Freud had a chow as a pet, and she believed her dog could really sense whether this person that she went on the date with was good or not, and whether there should be a second date. And so she would take him to all the restaurants and relied on that. So not just about a dog trusting us, but she was trusting the dog to give her the indications as to whether or not there should be a second date, which is pretty cool. But
that
of
is
course,
cool.
you can't go into
Get the
restaurants all
approval.
the time.
That is too cool. I mean, okay, what do you think? Nope, don't do it again. Yep, but that's so true though. They're smarter, a lot smarter than what we think. I mean, they are, the dogs and everything. They need to be, treated fairly. I know with BSL, and we all hate that. One dog
Yeah.
bites and they blame them all. And that's so wrong. That is discrimination, prejudice, unfair, and it's so, you can't say one dog bites and they're all just alike. They're all going to bite. They can't do that. And I've had several shows on that, BSL, breed-specific legislation,
On it
and
too.
it's terrible.
Show 373. Yeah.
So we got to do away with that BSL because it's so unfair. We got to blame the deed, not the breed. And pit bulls always get the bad rap.
In Massachusetts,
So
restricting ownership by breed is now illegal. Governor Patrick made sure that happened quite a while back. But and there's some great cases that have made it seem that, first of all, you don't know what breed a dog is. You just don't. And the eye test is not sufficient enough. And there's a great case in Massachusetts where a judge said, look, if you want to punish people for having a pit bull and you're only relying on a police officer or an animal control officer to look at the dog and determine what it is, the judge said you are giving unleashed discretion to the police officer. And it's just a great play on words, because the reality is it doesn't matter what they look like. Even experts on breeding can't sometimes figure out what breed the dog is. And that doesn't do anything to talk about what the dog's behavior is. I mean, I have plenty of cases where a golden retriever attacked a dog. It just, things that you wouldn't think happen. I mean, the reality is these small dogs, they bite much more than the bigger dogs. We just don't hear about it because their mouth is so small. They don't inflict pain. They don't make punctures. But the reality is these small dogs that you think are safe and friendly, I've had cases with dachshunds where I've had to try to keep them off death row. 2 different cases, try to keep them off death row. And so the look of the dog has no indication of how that dog behaves in certain situations.
that's right. And then they get so, people think, oh, well, they was in a pit bull, ring before. They don't have no choice in the matter for dog fighting. They can't drive themselves to these matches, or walk. They are trained to fight like that. And it's sad, how they get, misjudged when it's not even their fault. And, it's like they can go through, behavior training, because I've seen it, happen through social media, where they was involved in dog fights, and they had no choice, but they got, behavioral training, and they were fine after that because they had bad owners. So it was the bad owner's fault. I wish these dog fighters would turn over a new leaf and help these animals out instead of putting them in harm's way. The dog fighters, some of them end up death or, tear each other's ears off or puncture wounds. And then it's like their life doesn't matter to those fighters. And that's a sad part. So we got to give these pit bulls and all of them a chance. They cannot be held accountable. I'm sorry.
What
go
you're
ahead.
describing, happening, what you're describing happening to the pit bulls in the dog fighting rings, it's the same thing that's happening to beagles in laboratories.
Yes.
So many laboratories rely on beagles. The difference is it's legal, but it's the same thing happening to these dogs. They're not cared for. They're tattooed. They are not treated as living beings. Their conditions are horrible. And when they're done with them, they just cast them aside. I mean, now in the news we see the lab down on the southern East Coast has shut down, and they're dispersing all the labs. But all the beagles. But this happens in concrete buildings where there's people in lab coats too. It doesn't really just, I think, apply to people who engage in dog fighting. All these dogs need protection.
Yes, they do, because I've seen photos of them in this animal testing, and it's so sad and heartbreaking what these beagles and stuff are going through. I mean, it was like, what is going on here? This is animal cruelty in the first degree, and why are they getting by with it? They're putting these animals in so much discomfort and pain and suffering and making their lives a living hell, and it's so wrong. So we got to keep speaking up and doing our thing here and help them with their rights, and keep it up, because can I get up? And we have a caller, Jeremy, if you want to take that. This is attorney Jeremy Cohen, and he's the founder of Boston Dog Lawyers and a pet owner. Area code 503, you're live and on the air. Welcome aboard Animal Advocates Radio, voices carried for animals. You got any comments or questions for the guests? Thanks for joining us. Go ahead. Wait a minute, I just lost them. Okay, if you can hear me, please call back in. We lost the audio, but here we go. Thank you for calling back in. You're live and on the air. Go right ahead.
Yeah,
Thanks
hi
for
there.
joining us.
Hi, my name is Philip, and I'm calling about our daughter, our pet. She's an 8-year-old Doberman Pinscher, who obviously is one of those breeds that people shouldn't have. And she's been locked away with the county since December 23rd. And they won't let us contact them. They won't let us see how she's doing. In fact, we went to court for her to try and get her released as personal property, and the district attorney told the judge that our attorney was mistaken, thinking that the county was keeping her as evidence. And they said then that the purpose for them keeping her is their intent to euthanize her. And so then they postponed this court hearing for her for several times now. And now it's not going to happen until sometime mid-October. And we're beside ourselves. We find out at that hearing, which happened, I may have this date wrong, I want to say March, April timeframe. They wouldn't tell us anything about her, but my attorney asked at that time how the condition. And at that time, we found out that, she was rushed to the vet 4 times. She's had 2 emergency surgeries for twisted gut. And currently she's on medication, and she's being watched and housed at that time it was at a veterinarian clinic, and then they were going to bring her back. And so, I guess I don't know. I want to get out there what's happening to her, as well as all the other dogs in this particular county. I'm sure it happens all over the United States. If it's happening there, it's probably happening elsewhere. I just don't understand how they can look at a dog and say, and what she's accused of is getting into an unwitnessed dog fight with another dog. And there was no witnesses to that.
So you're calling from Oregon, Portland area?
Yeah. Yes. So Clatsop County, which is in Oregon, yes.
Well, you have one of the best dog lawyers right in your state, right in your area. And not to say anything about the present lawyer that you have, but this problem of these dogs in lockup, and when they're in lockup like this doggy jail, there are signs that the staff and volunteers are not supposed to even go near the dog. They don't exercise the dog properly. What you need what I do in cases like that, and I have to do that next week, is we get a vet and a behaviorist to evaluate the dog. You got to get a court order or somehow get a behaviorist and a veterinarian in there to evaluate the dog and to tell the judge, look, this is what's happening to her. What's her name?
Gretchen.
This is what's happening to Gretchen. She was this type of dog, and now the simple phrase is kennel craze. These dogs get kennel craze in there. And it's really a mental illness that affects their physical well-being. And if you were doing this to your dog, this would be animal cruelty, and you'd be arrested. Correct. But somehow when they do it on that side, it's somehow justified. This is winnable, and what I think your attorney was trying to do is pretty smart. It would be essentially called a replevin action. This is my property. The government took it, and now I want it back. But there's so many tools available that if this was Gretchen's just first or second time or something, there's just no need to put her down. There's so many things to be done before that. That's disappointing. I thought they'd be more advanced up in Portland area.
So I will tell you that this is considered her second offense. 5 years prior to that, there was a neighbor working underneath his car, and she was a puppy. Actually, it might have been closer to 8 years, but she was a puppy at the time, and she saw this guy climbing out from underneath his car, and she ran over and barked at him. She didn't bite him. She didn't charge him. She just ran over and was barking at him, and that guy didn't file any complaint, but the neighbor they did, and they were the ones that, when she was 8 weeks old, we took her for her first walk, and this neighbor came rushing out to tell us that the dangerous breed is going to kill a kid one day, and that person has been just kind of just relentless, and so this second thing, which just happened in December, this event, she did not do. There was no dog fight. We were there. There was no dog fight. Gretchen's a very loud, vocal dog. If there was a dog fight, the whole neighborhood would be out there. And this happened. What they're saying happened in the middle of it. Was like at 7, 8 o'clock at night, December. It was raining. It was dark out. But we had guests over. And nevertheless, it didn't happen. But you're absolutely correct. That's exactly. And our attorney, and I'll throw his name out there, is Jordy Duckler. And I don't know who your attorney you're referring to is, but it'd be great to get a hold of that person.
I've heard of him.
Okay, great. And he did come up with that name. That let's get this. This is considered personal property, and I just am just at awe as to how heartless this district attorney, this county, this judge is, to just, we asked, let her come back. Even if you want to euthanize her, let her come back until you find her guilty. And then take her, euthanize her. But it's a money grab. They keep telling us you're paying $500 a month. Now they want us to pay the vet bills of like over $10,000. They got,
not
we're
if you
up
win.
to about 20. Pardon?
You see, in my state, if we win, we don't pay any bills. So there is the incentive when the bills get up there for the city or town to really push. We have to win because we don't want to get stuck with the bill. They're very cost conscious, and that's a shame that factors in to. That is not how you get to the right decision the right way. So I wish you well. It sounds like you got some a good legal team around you, and I think you probably need to bring this to the local paper. And you need to,
and that is in the process. And I do want a little shout out to the host. Got in touch with my wife and signed a petition. I appreciate that, and any help y'all can give us and advice through Facebook or Messenger or however you guys get in touch. We're willing and able to listen and help others as well.
So Philip, can you find me on Facebook, Boston Dog Lawyers, and message me, and I'm happy to do whatever I can.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Thank you so
wonderful.
much.
Oh, Phil, Jeremy, that's awesome. I just
you sound sincere.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of this show with live calls.
That's right.
This is what can happen.
Right. Yep. And Philip, I am still passing around your petition for Gretchen, okay? And
Thank
we'll
you so
continue.
much. Thank you
Yes,
so much. And that's the only way we can get the word out.
Yeah, there's several of them out there. It's Help Save Mary. There's one there. I've been passing
Right,
around.
Layla.
Layla, there's another one. Help Layla.
Right.
And also Bella and Mimi. There's another one.
And, you know,
so I've been.
Yeah, and just as to what the attorney did say about, you know, they put up signs, "Don't touch this dog." We did get in touch with someone that volunteers at the pound, the wherever, whatever you're going to call it. It's Clatsop County Animal Shelter is what it's called. But they did go and tell us that they know the dog because they are also our groomer and our boarder, and they do time there. And they said, "Oh, is that Gretchen?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's Gretchen. Don't go near that dog for no reason. She's a vicious dog." And it's like, "No, she's not." You know, so the sign is there, like you said.
Let me just reinforce something. I mean, Jordy, you have the right lawyer. You absolutely have the right person. I mean, if I lived in your area, Jordy's the one I would go to. The other lawyer that I'm speaking of is also outstanding. He works out of Seattle, in his case in Oregon too. But you are at the top level of dog lawyers, and one day I'd love to be in the same level as Jordy Duckler. So you found the right person.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes you
I just hope
take
you
it
can
to
pull it out.
You just got to get the media involved.
Right.
Yeah,
so
do that.
We'll definitely get in touch with you.
Yes. And Philip, do you have any Facebook groups or Twitter groups or pages or anything for Gretchen?
So my wife did start a hashtag Save Gretchen. She did have a GoFundMe, but that's expired. There is a couple other ones out there that she has. Unfortunately, she had to work today. She wanted to be a part of this call. And I'm just so thankful that you guys are out there. I mean, I never would have thought this even existed. And anything you guys can do to help to put that word out there, we are so thankful. No matter the outcome, we're in this for life. And we're not going to stop, even if we lose. We're here to help others because what's going on. It's just a travesty. It's horrible. I mean, this dog is locked up in a cage for essentially 9 months, or it's going to be 10 months, and not to be handled, not to have anything to do with anybody, and she has no clue what happened.
Right. She don't. So
really
sad. But it's got to be devastating what you're going through. And tell your wife, I contacted her on Facebook, told her I'd signed the petition and would love to speak to you about this, and we could do a show. I'll get with you later and get it out, okay? Because
thank you so much.
We want justice for Gretchen, okay? And I know you both miss her. And with any pet that gets, put into custody, and has to wait, and you can't, see them, and they don't know what's going on. And they can't help it. So I'll be getting with you later on and scheduling you, okay? If that's okay with you and your attorney.
That is absolutely, yeah, it's perfect. I do want to throw something else out there just as and I don't know how to take this I don't know how to take this, is, they said bring the dog in, otherwise it'll be traumatic if we take her. So we took her down there because the sheriff told us to. And they said to us, you can call anytime. And then they said you probably should get an attorney. And so until we got an attorney, they let us call every day. As soon as we got an attorney, their remark to us was, you can pay your attorney now to find out how your dog is. And they've never once been able, my attorney's never once been able to contact to find out how the dog is. So I don't know how to, it's like, it's just terrible. But listen, I don't want to, there's other people out there. I know they want to talk to you guys. You guys are doing great service. Anything you can do, if you want to get in touch with us again, we're so thankful. And absolutely, if we can talk some more about this some other time, that we certainly will do that.
Yes,
keep up the fight,
definitely. Yes,
keep the fight.
keep hope alive. We're standing with you, okay? Because we know how you feel, and it's devastating. It has to be. You know, going through that's so sad because your fur baby. You know, they don't have that long to live anyway. I mean, I think 10, 15 years. Some not even that. So we have to spend good time with them, and show them the love and care. And they're scared to death in them places. And like you said, once they hit the attorney, they don't want to give you no more information, and they're being cold and heartless because they're not going into your shoes and knowing how you feel about it. You got to fight for justice. So, but anyway, Philip, I appreciate you calling in. And tell your wife thank you, because when I was connecting with her, these stories are so touching. And anything that I could do, or what look at what Jeremy's doing. He's out there making a difference, a positive difference. He knows what these families go through with, and he gets in their shoes and he feels their pain. So that's amazing. That's awesome.
It is. It is.
We need more like you, Jeremy. We need more like you.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yes, and thank you, and I'll keep spreading that petition around too, okay, Philip?
Awesome.
It
I
was
appreciate it.
really sharing on Twitter, and on Facebook it's doing it, but Twitter was really moving. So I'm going to keep doing it every day, okay? We want justice.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks for calling in. We got a caller calling in from area code 631. You're live and on the air. Thanks for joining us this evening. Welcome to Animal Advocates Radio, Voices Carried for Animals. You're live and on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, it's Lauren Contino. How are you?
Hey, Lauren, how are you? Thanks for calling in. This is a former guest here.
Yeah,
she has Save the Animal, Save the World website.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead. Do you have any questions or comments for the guest? Go right ahead.
Yes. What I wanted to say was it's so nice to, years ago, even on Facebook, there were far and few lawyers around that are able to, help an animal get out of a bad situation. And it's so nice now because I've seen this industry grow so much, like in the last 5 years. And I remember you said about the training part. See, okay, I have pit bulls, okay? Now, to me, this is what I did. I know my neighbors, okay? So when I got the dogs, I made sure that I walked them every single day around the same time every day. So those two used to see the same people, whether they were tired or not. So, they got to know my pits, that they were friendly and kind and don't watch the TV that makes them awful, And it's nice to know that you must have a ton of clients because, sometimes it's like banging your head against the wall as soon as they get that dog. You know what the worst part about it all? These kids, they think they're behaviorists and they're not. So you give me your paw, and if you take it back, well, that means it's bad behavior. Well, something, how about you go in a cage for nine months and see how you feel? And I think that's the problem. Once they pick up your dog, I mean, I used to be scared of that every single day. I have a fence, and, it's super locked, and there's one thing that I did learn. Never leave your animal by its lonesome, because you never know if the dog can get out, dig a hole, go under, because I always make sure that, because if you see my pit running towards you, it's human nature to be like, oh, my God, that dog's going to kill me. And, for me, I'm not most people. I did months and months of research to understand what type this breed is and what their needs are. and the hard part about it is when you see these animals, the networkers, when they move these types of animals, it crushes my heart when I see a dog, a pit, a Doberman, a Rottie. You see them once, and then all of a sudden they're gone. They're deceased. Because they had them.
I'm wondering with limited time left, and I'm trying to be a resource to so many pet owners, you certainly have some great experience and a great understanding. I appreciate what you're saying about the development of the law practices around the country. Is there anything that I can share with you that could help pet owners in terms of what their legal rights might be in court?
Yes, because I was interested in that too. Because I really, even though I know the legalities of things is a scary thing, and I'm just glad that you are a lawyer that deals specifically. I just wanted to say thank you because, there's not many of you around still, but there's more. Then I'm so happy you came on Debbie's show because I realized I just put it on and I heard that you were a lawyer. And I just wanted to wish you good luck because thank you for you doing what you're doing. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for by listening to the show, by being a guest on it. I mean, you're spreading the word too. Thank you for the kind words. And it's too bad because right now a lot of people who need a pet lawyer don't even know we exist. So just getting the concept out there is so important. And spreading the word to young lawyers.
Exactly.
You can do this. You can make a living at this. You can specialize in this, and you can make a difference. Yeah.
I'm sure somebody else want to ask a question, Deb. So I'll just kind of hang around just till.
Cool.
Yeah, you can stay on there, Lauren. Thanks for calling in. And her website is Save the Animals, Save the World, and she has my podcast on there. A big shout out to you, Lauren. That takes teamwork all the way. I believe it. That's what it takes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're
sure
a great
can.
inspiration. Yes. Keep it up.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to having you on the show again, okay? And we got another caller here.
Thank you so much, Debbie.
Hey, you're so welcome.
Absolutely.
Hey, it's so inspiring to be inspiring each other to keep going and stay strong, keep that hope alive, for the animals. Because when the victories hit, I do the victory dance and the happy dance, okay? But it doesn't stop there. I keep going because I know I'm not spinning my wheels. And hey, you make great results happen, and they can't take credit, but when you're involved, you say, hey, look at this. I'm not spinning my wheels. The more of us that come together as one, the more meaningful changes happen. So we have to be out there doing something. We cannot just sit there and not do anything because then there's no change. Yeah, I've got a caller, Jeremy.
Yeah, let's go. Let's see if we can help this person out.
Okay, area code 719. You're live and on air. Go right ahead. You have any comments or questions for attorney Jeremy Cohen? Go right ahead.
Hey, Debbie. Hey, Jeremy. How you doing?
Hey, good. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, I have a question for Jeremy.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Do you get involved with people that deal with feral cats?
Well, I appreciate what they do, and I know it's a major problem. I know that, so in that sense, I do. I mean, they're not quite pets, but we need to do something about them. I mean, the biggest concern and the biggest reason I think people are focusing on trying to deal with all the feral cats is because of all the birds they're killing, all the rodents they're killing. I know here in Massachusetts there's a movement to try to license all cats or make them indoor cats just to prevent other wildlife from being injured. So, I mean, to what extent would you need help with feral cats? What's on your mind?
Well, there's a lot of cities, counties, parishes that are. I take care of feral cats. I do TNR, which is trap, neuter, release. We trap the cats where they're at, where they're living. We put housing. We build houses. and we get a caretaker, and that caretaker feeds and waters and keeps an eye on them. When I can't find a caretaker, then that responsibility comes back to me. And so I take care of about 100 feral cats at present.
Wow.
And I've been taken to court. I've had people tell me they don't want the cats there. They want them moved. They want them dead. They want them gone. And it's not, I try to explain to them that it's not like I go out looking for the cats. I trap them where they live. I release them back to where they live after they've been fixed. They're all chipped. They're all given all their shots, so they're healthy.
Here's the thing. How I want to respond to that is people like you, people like me. There's always going to be people that are questioning, why do you do this? This is different. We never had people do this. Why are you doing this now? Because it's the right time to do it. And you have to fight through all the naysayers and all the people that question your motives, or how many times people say to me, you do what? Or you're a lawyer for that dog? They need it. And the only way to fight through this is just to keep doing it and not lose your energy, not lose your enthusiasm. And the tide turns. I talked a little bit about how judges up here sometimes would just be so unhappy to have my case in their court. But now there's a lot of judges who are engaged in it because it's new, it's interesting, and they probably have a pet themselves. So you will get followers, you will get supporters. I'm sure you already have, but it's a great thing you're doing. Take care of 100 cats. That's pretty amazing.
Yes,
I've been taken to court. I've had a couple take me to court. They got a temporary restraining order against me so that I couldn't come in the alley and feed the cats. It was 100-degree summer, and they were stealing the cat food, dumping the cat water, and I had enough, and I caught them taking the cat's water this particular day, and I was filming them, and I put it on Facebook, and I shamed them. Oh, yes, I certainly did. And so they filed a restraining order and harassment charges against me. Everything was dismissed by the judge. I didn't do anything to them. They're the ones that were taking the cat's water, which is against the law. But it was right when COVID hit, so it drug out in court for like 9 months.
Let me ask you this: is there something in here with such limited time that a pet owner? Is there a lesson here for an actual pet owner that somehow you can, make use of my time? I'm trying to be a resource to pet owners right now. How can this translate to pet owners? Have you thought about that, or how you can turn these cats into pets?
Stop dumping your cat. Get your pet sick.
Oh my goodness.
There's your answer.
Yep. Hey, but anyway, we're down to like a minute and 45 seconds here. Mama Cat, thank you for calling in, and looking forward to having you as a guest again, okay? And Lauren Contino of Save the Animal, Save the World, thank you for calling in. And also Philip called in. I'll be getting with him doing a show on his furry daughter, Gretchen. Hope she gets released soon. And next week, everyone, I want to give a big thank you to attorney Jeremy Cohen. Another great show, Jeremy. And Boston Dog Lawyers, everyone, .com, and check it out. Also on Facebook, Boston Dog Lawyers, and also on Twitter. So looking forward to have you on again, attorney Jeremy Cohen. This has been an outstanding show, and I can't thank you enough. I mean, this has been so informative, and what you're doing, keep it up. That you're a great inspiration to humans and animals, giving them hope to carry on. Next week, everyone.
What you do is so important to us. Thank you for doing what you do.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm going to keep it up, and I'll be in contact with you to do another show, okay, if that's all right with you, because you're doing some outstanding work there. And next week, everyone, John Oberg is going to come on. He's an animal advocate, influencer, social media pro, working to make the world a better place. and want to welcome him aboard to be his first time. 7 o'clock Eastern next week, everyone. 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, 4 o'clock Pacific. And hope you all tune in next week. Okay, may God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in. All in hand, United